Here's my prediction and breakdown for UFC 271, Adesanya versus Whittaker 2. We already know who's on the card. All of these guys, freaking Blonde Brunson, still undefeated. I don't know how. Cannonier looking for a title shot. Tuivasa, barn burner. I hope it better not be another letdown, but I feel like this is like a 99%, or I have a good feeling 90% of the time this fight is going to be a barn burner. So right now I think it is going to be a barn burner. It's going to be a back and forth, or it's just going to be a slugfest. Phillips is on here. He's a really good. Bobby Green and Haqparast is on the card too. And I'm surprised that Hernandez and Moicano's fight is in the early prelims, but you have Bobby Green and Haqparast opening up the main card. I mean, they are main card worthy fights, to be honest. Out of all of these fights in the prelim card and the early prelims, but to be honest, if that fight's gonna be there, Hernandez and Moicano's fight should be like the headliner of the prelims right before their fight, or on the main card. To be honest, they can be on the main card. Both of these guys are good, and they're young. They can turn their careers back into the right direction, because they had a lot of hype coming into the UFC. They delivered, but then they've been losing. But they're losing to top level fighters. Hernandez, though, losing to Thiago Moises is, oh my god. I mean, Thiago Moises is a good fighter, but Thiago Moises, obviously, he's not that ranked fighter in the lightweight division. He just got absolutely toasted by Joel Alvarez, but Joel Alvarez is like a weight bully, frame bully, and he's really good. So yeah, but Thiago Moises, he's just overrated just because he went 4 rounds with Islam Makhachev. People thought he is like people thought that he was gonna stay in the rankings, but I knew this guy was overrated, and Hernandez could have won that fight if his mindset was right, or if he had a better game plan, or if he just knew that he was losing the fight and had to pick up the pace, not thinking he was winning the fight. So yeah, like, people's coaches, their mindset, like, they have to get that shit right. Hopefully by the age of 29 he can bounce back, have a better team, or his team just have a better mindset, and himself having a better mindset. So yeah, and on the card we have the CKB team on the early prelims. Jeremiah Wells versus Blood Diamond. I'm going to go with Jeremiah Wells, because Blood Diamond, he's kind of wild in his fights, and I feel like Jeremiah Wells is going to put on a grappling game plan. Like, we saw this with Alex Pereira versus his debut, I think, Andreas Michailidis or something like that. Alex Pereira was getting grappled in the first round, and he lost that round. But because Alex Pereira remained calm, and his style is much more different than Blood Diamond, and it's middleweight, and that guy was trash. Jeremiah Wells is good. And Alex Pereira trained with Glover Teixeira. His camp had a lot of grapplers in there, top level grapplers, heavy grapplers. So yeah, he just defended all the grappling situations in the second round, and I think he just destroyed Andreas Michailidis in the second round. But in this case, Jeremiah Wells is good, and he's explosive. So I feel like he's just gonna finish Blood Diamond, maybe by ground and pound. I think he's gonna take him to the ground, or drop him by mixing up the grappling, and then just finish Blood Diamond on the floor. I'm on the ground. So yeah, I don't know how Blood Diamond does have a good chance. He has good power. He has nice head kicks. He could just head kick Jeremiah Wells into the shadow realm or whatever. But yeah, I got Jeremiah Wells on this one. But then for Carlos Ulberg, though, I'm going to be backing him up. I know I picked him in his debut, and he looked good in the first 2 rounds. No, the first round only. And then he gassed out and got TKO'd in the 3rd round. That's pretty funny. Just remembering it in my head, I feel like he just got flatlined or something. He just got like dropped really badly in the third round and they called it off. But I think he's gonna come back, especially with this opponent. Yeah, I think Carlos Ulberg is gonna make a comeback. But on to my breakdowns, to the fights that I'm mainly focusing on. Starting it off with Alex Hernandez versus Renato Moicano. Both of these guys have top 15 ability and skill. But when you look at their advantages, you can give Moicano the BJJ advantage, give Hernandez the wrestling advantage. You could say on the ground Moicano is more dangerous, but I don't think Hernandez is going to let the fight get to the ground with his great takedown defense and just scrambling out of the position when the fight does hit the ground, because he's just more explosive and stronger, and they both have good cardio, which leaves the fight on the feet. And I do think the fight is going to be on the feet, whether Moicano doesn't shoot any takedowns or if Hernandez stuffs all the takedowns. But when the fight is on the feet, technically some people would give it to Renato Moicano for being maybe the better striker. But I think what's going to break the tiebreaker is the power of Hernandez and the chin of Moicano. It's just not going to mix well, and just the explosiveness of Alex Hernandez, just his short, explosive frame, blitzing in there with combinations, and I feel like he's going to get to Moicano with that power, wobble him, and just start unloading combinations on him and find that finishing shot like how he did against his last opponent. I just think that Renato Moicano's chin is just really sus. Like, he's always been cracked. I mean, to be fair, he's been cracked by like powerful guys, Jose Aldo, TKZ, Rafael Alfizia. But the thing is, Alex Hernandez is one of those powerful guys. He knocked out Beneil Dariush. He's coming off of a knockout win. He's explosive, he's strong. Like, just look at him. He has power. He has really good power. And he's in his prime. I mean, both of these guys are in their prime, but the explosiveness is still there for Hernandez, and he does have good power, and Moicano does not have a good chin. So those two don't mix well, and I'm going to have to go with Hernandez by first round TKO. Up next, Alex Perez versus Matthew Christopher Schnell. Same exact story as Hernandez versus Moicano. Alex Hernandez and Alex Perez literally share the same first name. They're both the same age. They're both shorter than their opponent. Same for Moicano and Schnell. They're both 32 years old. They're both on the taller side, the lengthier side. But they both share that sus chin. And Alex Perez and Alex Hernandez both share that power. It just doesn't mix well. And I think Alex Perez is just better than Matt Schnell. It's just not a good mix. And Alex Perez is basically a better... Like, if you look at both of their matchups, Alex Hernandez and Renato Moicano is a close fight. But Perez versus Schnell is a close fight, but not as close as Hernandez and Moicano. So Alex Perez, he just has really great takedown defense, really good wrestling, really good BJJ. Same for Schnell. I think I'll give him the BJJ advantage still, but the power, the cardio, the boxing, and just the chin of Schnell is just not good. So I'm gonna go with, but I think Matt Schnell will survive and mix in the grappling, or because he's pretty good at surviving. Like, when he does get rocked, he can get dropped. I can see him getting dropped, but he does have pretty good recovery. I think he has better recovery than Renato Moicano. So I'm gonna go with a 30-27 decision for Alex Perez. He's gonna win every single round with that power, just rocking Matt Schnell, getting that respect, and just controlling the fight, the entire fight. Up next, Bobby Green versus Nasrat Haqparast. Both of these guys are really good. Like, their fight is on the same level of Hernandez versus Moicano. Actually, because Bobby Green is such a good fighter. Like, he's a great fighter. I think he's like a ranked fighter, to be honest. He should be ranked, but because he's getting robbed and stuff like that, he's not. So Bobby Green is just a much more superior fighter, in my opinion. He's been in the game for a long time, much more experience, and his skill set is really good. Like, his boxing is slick. He has really good cardio, so his pace his volume is insane. He doesn't gas, and he has a really good chin. At the age of 35, he could eat shots off of Rafael Fiziev. Or maybe it's because of his defense, his Philly shell defense, because it makes it work, and he rolls with the punches, and he looks fine most of the time. Like, you can crack him, but he's coming back, he's taunting in your face, and he's just upping the volume. Nasrat Haqparast does have that power to take him out, but this is a fight Bobby Green has never seen before. He just fought Rafael Fiziev, a much more better striker than Nasrat Haqparast, and maybe slightly more powerful. So I think Bobby Green got this one in the bag. His cardio, his chin, his volume, his striking, his takedown defense. I'm pretty sure Bobby Green was a wrestler before, so he has really good takedown defense. He stuffed all of Ally Quinta's takedown attempts. Bobby Green's just looking really good. This is his prime, basically. He's like, he beat Thiago Moises, and he probably could have beat Rafael Fiziev. I might have to rewatch that, because he outlanded Rafael Fiziev all of the rounds, I believe. In the first round, it was clear that Rafael Fiziev landed the bigger shots, but in the second round, that fight was close. And in the third round, Bobby Green was just teeing off of Rafael Fiziev. If it was a 5-rounder, Rafael Fiziev would have been finished in the 4th, to be honest. So, yeah, Bobby Green is just a ranked caliber fighter. He could be on a main event and do really well. 5 rounds, man, Bobby Green's good. He's hitting his prime for some reason at the age of 35. Good stuff for Bobby Green. Nasrat Haqparast does have that power. I think I mentioned that earlier, but it's a clear Bobby Green win. I think it's going to be another decision. I'm going to go with Bobby Green by 30-27 decision. Up next, Kyler Phillips versus Marcelo Rojo. I'm going to go with Kyler Phillips. His wins are really good. He just beat Song Yadong in his last fight. It should have been a draw with Raulian Paiva. And he's going to learn from his mistake of just gassing out, just going all out in the first round. I mean, it did help him. He should have got a 10-8 in the first round and got him the draw, but he's just a really good fighter, and I think he's going to learn from his mistake in his last performance. But he's still a really good fighter. He's a top 15 bantamweight, in my opinion, so he's really good. He's going to bounce back against Marcelo Rojo. Marcelo Rojo, he has kind of the cardio problem too, so he's not going to exploit Kyler Phillips' gas tank if he upped the pace. So, yeah, Kyler Phillips is just a better fighter. We've seen he's a better fighter. I mean, maybe Marcelo Rojo could pull it out because he is really dangerous, but Kyler Phillips, he's much more dangerous, and he has really good wins. He has a really good skill set, and he's just a proven fighter. He's really good, and he's only 26 years old, so you have to jump on that Kyler Phillips train, and I think Kyler Phillips is going to get it done by 30-27 decision this time. He's not going to gas out. Up next, Jared Cannonier versus Derek Brunson, or might I say Blonde Brunson, undefeated, but undefeated Blonde Brunson is not enough for Jared Cannonier. I feel like Jared Cannonier is just too powerful, really good cardio, really good composure, and he has great takedown defense. Darren Till did have great takedown defense, but Jared Cannonier is just better than Darren Till. Just look at him. He has muscles. Darren Till did not have muscles in his last fight with Blonde Brunson. Look at Jared Cannonier. He has muscles on muscles. He used to be a heavyweight, so he has that power. He has that physique, and he has good cardio. He was coming back against Robert Whittaker. After he got dropped by Robert Whittaker, he was coming back. And Jared Cannonier has a really good skill set. But even though I shit on Brunson or Derek Brunson a lot, he is dangerous. He has good power, especially in that first round, and he's been more patient, conserving his gas tank for 3 rounds. And man, now that he has 3 rounds, it's better for him. So the chances of him winning has been going up, because recently his past 3 fights have been 5-rounders, and I thought like he's gonna break because it's 5 rounds and his gas tank is terrible, but he's getting through these guys. I don't know how. Edmund Shabazian, he has a terrible gas tank. Kevin Holland, terrible wrestling defense. I thought Darren Till will be the one to fix it because he's better than Edmund Shabazian's. He has a better cardio. What the hell? Better gas tank than Edmund Shabazian. Way better takedown defense than Kevin Holland. I thought Darren Till was going to be the one. But you look at Darren Till, he was a fat shit going into that fight. And then now you look at Jared Cannonier, he's not a fat shit anymore. So, yeah, like, look at him. He's the complete package. Finally, Brunson will be stopped right here in UFC 271. But I'm going to admit that Brunson is dangerous. He does have that KO power. He has that wrestling. I feel like he could grind him. I think he can grind a decision out. This fight is going to be close, but I trust in Jared Cannonier to put an end to Brunson's terrible technique and just poking out his chin every time he pushes forward, throwing his punches like a retard. So let's go, Jared Cannonier. But I don't know. I might be rooting for Brunson because he's a good guy, and I just want to see something crazy like Brunson beating Jared Cannonier, who's a really good elite middleweight. If he does, I won't be mad. So let's go Brunson. Let's get that win. And let's go Jared Cannonier. Let's get that win so I'm neutral in this fight. But who I think is going to win for this fight is Jared Cannonier by 3rd round TKO. Yeah, I feel like Derek Brunson is going to gas, and then Jared Cannonier is going to finish him in the 3rd round. No, I'm going to go with a 29-28 decision for Jared Cannonier. I feel like Derek Brunson is going to look good in 1 round, and then every time Jared Cannonier tries to put him away or hurts him in the later rounds, Derek Brunson is going to use his wrestling and his size to just wear on Jared Cannonier. But Jared Cannonier is big too himself. But yeah, I think that Derek Brunson, he's just going to survive. I just think he's going to survive. So 29-28 decision for Jared Cannonier. Up next in the co-main event, Derek Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa. This is going to be a sad fight to watch, but a fun fight to watch at the same time. But it's going to be sad to see either of these guys lose, because I want to see Tai Tuivasa rise because he's younger and he's going to be a new name in the top. But and he's entertaining and he's like funny to watch. But same for Derek Lewis. He's funny. He's been around. He's just a really likable guy and a really entertaining fighter. And it's going to be sad to see one of these guys just get flatlined, because I feel like that's the only ending to this fight. Maybe we could see a decision by Tai Tuivasa if he calf kicks his way and just plays that point game. But I feel like that's probably not going to work, because I feel like only Cyril Gane can do that. Because Cyril Gane is just like, I mean, like, obviously that's the blueprint to beating Derek Lewis, just being much more technical and just being faster than him. But Cyril Gane is just on a different level of athleticism. Like, Chris Daukaus just tried that game plan on Derek Lewis in their last fight in a 5-rounder, and he just got flattened in the first round. So I don't think Tai Tuivasa can follow the same game plan, because obviously no one is like Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane is still the best. He's the baddest man on the planet. He's just so good. So yeah, Tai Tuivasa, he could try out that game plan and just counter and punish Derek Lewis for coming in. But I feel like Derek Lewis he has a really good chin for a heavyweight fighter. He can take shots, and I feel like, and obviously Derek Lewis is the second hardest hitting heavyweight in the division, maybe even the hardest hitting heavyweight division. Oh my god, I can't even say it right. He's the most powerful fighter on the planet, or the second most powerful fighter on the planet. So yeah, he's gonna if he lands on Tai Tuivasa is going out. And if Tai Tuivasa lands on Derek Lewis, he's probably going to wobble Derek Lewis and finish him with a couple follow-up shots. So, but I feel like Derek Lewis, he's been in these fights before. He's more experienced, and he's just a tank. Like, he can eat shots. So, I'm going to go with Derek Lewis in a slugfest. And I think this fight is going to end in the second round. I might say second round TKO for Derek Lewis in a slugfest, a back and forth fight. I feel like the first couple minutes is going to be pretty slow, and then Derek Lewis is going to start upping the pressure in the first round, in the later half of the first round, and then whatever happens in the first round, and if they survive, it will end in the second round. So second round TKO for Derek Lewis. Now in the main event for the UFC Middleweight Championship, Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker 2. The rematch is upon us. And this fight is really close. It's really close. I don't know how people can say that this fight's not going to be close, because the first fight wasn't close. The first fight was close, minus the 2 knockdowns. Like, I understand he knocked him out twice, basically, because one follow-up shot after the first knockdown, Robert Whittaker would have been put on snooze mode for a good 2 minutes, and the fight would have been over. But the fight, like, if you combine both of those moments where the knockdown happened, you can get a good 5 seconds of that. And if you take the 5 seconds out of the fight, the first fight, the rest of the fight was insanely close. It was really close. It was competitive. The strikes were back and forth. Even though Robert Whittaker was lunging a lot, and he was missing a lot, to be honest, but he was landing strikes. Like, Israel Adesanya wasn't landing that many strikes. Even though he could be patient, more accurate, he wasn't landing as many strikes. So the strikes were close, and Robert Whittaker was landing good shots on Israel Adesanya. But Israel Adesanya has a major reach advantage and height advantage. The range is insane. He has a light heavyweight build or heavyweight frame in the middleweight division. He's just range bullying everyone. Everyone wants to talk about weight bullying, but no one wants to talk about range bullying. Oh my god, I can't talk. But this fight is going to be close, because the first fight was close. The overall fight wasn't close, but majority of the first fight was close. And Robert Whittaker showed really great recovery. I mean, we already knew this about Robert Whittaker. He has great recovery. His chin may be sus, but his recovery is just one of the best. He's like, honestly, in the history of all fighters, he probably has the best recovery out of anyone in the history of the UFC or MMA. So he has really great recovery, but Israel Adesanya has that reach and that gyno power. Like, holy, like, talk about equalizer. The gyno of Israel Adesanya is just massive. Like, even Anthony Smith said it himself. We always see his gyno get worse before a fight. But then Anthony Smith wants to act like it's not because of roids, because it's a weight cutting issue or something. Or like they just kept saying they don't know. But they're literally pointing all the signs of, oh, the gyno's getting bigger before every fight. Obviously, he's going to be competing, so he's going to need that gyno power that he gets from his roids to KO his opponent. Like, look at the power he's been getting, like, ever since he got that gyno. Like, he even hurt Jan Blachowicz on the feet. For a guy who came in underweight into that bout, I still believe he cut weight for that bout, but he was still, like, significantly underweight. He was probably like 20 pounds lighter or 15 pounds lighter. I don't know, somewhere around there. And he was able to just stun Jan Blachowicz multiple times. I mean, Jan Blachowicz was stunning him too, but still, gyno power, putting out Paulo Costa. Marvin Vettori has a blockhead, and he was defensive in that fight. Or Robert Whittaker, his chin is not good, so man, that gyno power might just sleep him. But I feel like Robert Whittaker, if he does get dropped, he will come back, recover really well, and make the fight competitive. But the gyno power it's going to create a lot of problems, because if Robert Whittaker tries to, and I think this is one of his keys to victory, is to wrestle. That strength Israel Adesanya is going to have. Like, he defended a couple of Jan Blachowicz takedowns, but to be fair, everyone's talking about, weight advantage this, weight advantage that. Jan Blachowicz isn't even a grappler. Like, he's a Muay Thai kickboxer. Like, that's mainly, like, before he joined the UFC, I'm pretty sure he was a kickboxer or a Muay Thai fighter. So he's mainly a striker. Like, look at him. Look what happened against Glover Teixeira. He just showed, like, there's levels to grappling. And Robert Whittaker technically is a way better grappler than Jan Blachowicz. He can shoot from a distance. He can get the body lock, put Israel Adesanya down. I think he's going to use technique to get him down. But the thing is, the strength of Israel Adesanya, because of that freaking gyno, is going to offset the grappling of Robert Whittaker. His nice technique. And Robert Whittaker has a clear grappling advantage. His BJJ is much more better. This fight is really close, because when Marvin Vettori got into Israel Adesanya's back, his dumbass didn't put any hooks in, but I'm pretty sure if Robert Whittaker has Israel Adesanya's back, the fight will be over. He's really good in BJJ, and his wrestling is good. Man, Robert Whittaker is just a complete MMA fighter, so if he just fights like he is one, instead of trying to go for the knockout against Israel Adesanya, lunging in there with overhands, he's going to have a much more better chance at winning. And in the first fight, he was just lunging too much. I'm not saying he shouldn't lunge at all. I think he should lunge in this fight, but just not all the freaking time like in the first fight. So if I was Robert Whittaker, mix up the fight and try to close that range with that jab, because Israel Adesanya showed that he has a weakness to people just pumping a jab in his face, and obviously the grappling. Like, he is active on the ground, but later on in the rounds, he gets less active, he gets more tired, he gets more fatigued. But Israel Adesanya still has that insane reach, light heavyweight or heavyweight frame in the middleweight division, 6'4", 80 inches of reach. Like, range bully right there. Frick. And he has gyno. And he's a good striker himself, but Israel Adesanya, like, I see this one going to decision because, God, fucking hate Israel Adesanya. He always waits for his opponent to make the first move in order for him to get his knockouts. So I just see him just leg kicking Rob to win the fight. I feel like the leg kicks are going to win him the fight. He's just going to be outpointing Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker will try to get the takedown. Some of it, or most of them, will get stuffed. But I can see Israel Adesanya winning a 48-47 decision. But I could see Robert Whittaker doing the same. But I'm going to have it back. I'm going to have to choose Israel Adesanya winning that way because he has the range. He's going to be spamming those leg kicks. He's going to be using those feints to land those leg kicks. Maybe threaten some head kicks, but all he does is just spam leg kicks. So, yeah, he's going to spam leg kicks to a decision. And Robert Whittaker could win some rounds when he does get the fight to the ground, control Adesanya, rain down some shots and whatever. But ultimately, in the fight, I feel like Israel Adesanya is going to manage to win 3 rounds, and Robert Whittaker is going to win only 2. But there's a really high chance of Robert Whittaker winning 3. And if only this sport was fair, I mean, maybe Robert Whittaker could be on roids too, but like, look at Israel Adesanya, he's clearly on roids. Like, I know there's a chance Robert Whittaker could be on roids, but right now, he's showing no signs of roids. I mean, obviously, there is signs of roids in every professional athlete because they're just much more better than the average human being. But I feel like when a lot of people just assume that every single professional athlete is on roids, they're just jealous because they're a fat slob. But if you're gonna accuse someone of roids, you're gonna have to look for the obvious signs, like Kamaru Usman with his 4 different signs of having freaking EPO or whatever, like HGH, or just roids. And for Israel Adesanya's case, is his gyno and his power just being ridiculous, and his strength too in his recent fights when he got that gyno. Like, look at that gyno. It's only on one side. Like, I've searched up articles. Well, not articles. I'm not like, I wasn't diving that deep into the stuff, but I'm pretty sure if you're gonna have gyno, it's gonna have to be on both of your freaking nipples, not just one of them. And especially drooping like that, that's some like major signs of you taking something. Like, you can just watch More Plates, More Dates, and like many other people agree that, I mean, I'm just like, look at More Plates, More Dates. He's obviously, he knows a lot of stuff about roids. I don't know a lot of stuff about roids, but if you saw, like, I'm looking at everyone right now, and I don't see anyone else with as bad as gyno on one side as Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is just, it's a huge red flag. It's just a giant red flag. Oh my God, I'm just ranting here. I'm done. Israel Adesanya, 48-47 decision. I hope this is going to be a good fight, and I think it's going to be a good technical chess match between these two guys. Yeah, it's going to be a good fight. 48-47 decision for Israel Adesanya.